Stop by to interact with the community and I every Friday night at 8 o'clock for live stream Fridays.
Welcome, trolls. Earth sees all.
Hey, welcome everyone. Bruce Schwartz here. Can't thank you all enough for the wonderful comments. They are therapeutic. You guys are awesome. This is Mare Crisium. To the right, east side of Mare Crisium, you can see the structuring on the surface. It's just that they have the same reflectivity. I want to explain this and show you this. So we're going to see the same frame zoomed out a little more and inverted. Now, inverting a photo is not using a filter. This isn't a filter. The only filter part that you see here is that I put it green so that we see it. Do you understand that? I want to see the contrast and difference of the objects on the surface. So they are really there. And this, what if you want to call it a framing or a shell, whatever it may be, they don't talk about it. And it's beautiful. It really is there. And now you see all the white areas. Well, we can't see that, but it's because they're very colorful areas. All these white areas that you are seeing are very colorful areas. We don't need this inversion to be able to see those areas. We see them just with regular straight up footage. I am going to compare both the footages and put them side by side a frame or two so that we can see actually what is on the surface. Even the Apollo 11 supposed moon landing area, it's so infested with objects on the surface, natural or not. And these white objects that are on the surface are high and elevated off of the surface. We see a lot of different levels on the surface. You can see it here, it's pushing out. And yes, some people say it's Earth disturbance. Obviously, the oscillation, yeah. I don't linger on it because I'm not really interested in that. It could be, this could be the oscillation, just the atmosphere of Earth. But it's because I hate ruling things out. It could also be that, line between what substance, element, whatever is between Earth and the moon. But now we know that the moon is in Earth's geocorona. So hundreds of thousands of miles beyond the moon, Earth's atmosphere is still in existence beyond that point. So you got to wonder. Beautiful to see the surface, all the objects. Say to yourself, every object that you're seeing there is not pixelation, and it's very well there. It's a simple, straight up inversion. You can try it yourselves. No mystery. A negative photo, like some people say, but it's not quite the same inversion. It's the same idea. I'm just doing it a better way. That's for sure. Play around. I mean, there's editing, right? We can use editors, and we can get a real nice view of the surface without manipulating it at all. And coming up, we're going to see that frame. So here, this is where the supposed Apollo 11 moon landing would have landed, right in the bottom of Mare Imbrium there in the blue section. As the telescope pans over, that's why you're seeing the shift in the contrast and exposure, because the telescope really does have to be completely and entirely over the surface of the moon. If it's off the edge of the moon, you're going to get massive bright light. You can still remain there, but you have to descend your exposure completely down. Now here are those double frames, guys, that I want you to see. So you're going to let the bottom part adjust. The exposure will adjust. I have to descend it enough so that the exposure will remain adjusted in focus, if you want. Dark enough, right? The exposure, by descending it, it's giving us darker lines on the surface. The higher, the whiter you see the surface get, it's because that exposure is too bright. See here? That's adjusted, descended, and why do I do that? So that it keeps it like that. So don't wonder why it's jumping around in exposure rates. It's just for us to be able to see the surface. See all the objects you can see on the bottom, natural or not, and look on the top. Even around Plato Crater, guys, and you can't see it. You really can't see it on the top because they have the same reflectivity. So that white layering, that shelling or crusty shell, is actually monstrous, high-rising objects on the surface, again, natural or not. They're still there, and on top of those objects is where I'm getting even smaller objects. And those objects are really connected, like snafu, guys. They're totally connected like worm tunnels, one over the other. I do not believe they are all lava tubes, but I found it extremely interesting that NASA had mentioned if they were to make a base on the moon, they would probably use one of the lava tubes. Of course, being protected by meteorites, and asteroids, if you want, like it's a natural protection. Well, I actually think that those lines are already structures. I'll be out tonight, guys. They're announcing a clear night, so I'm going to get that infrared camera out there, check out to see what's crawling around or whizzing by. There's always something that we can see, especially flashing lights, UFOs, asteroids, meteors, and comets. When you get to the point where you see them shooting out lights, that they're over pressed up against the surface and that other lights are interacting. The lights that are coming from them, and look at what lifts up off the surface as this object, there you go. This is something pretty incredible. It's seen, raw truth, with the naked eye, no, but with this camera and telescope viewing and zooming in very close to the surface. By slowing down the footage, by analyzing each frame. It's not easy. It's a long process, but it's well worth it because we're seeing this proof. Now watch carefully as all these lights are coming from this amazing object, which is at least half a mile to a mile wide. The light is anyways, because that's what the telescope is able to pick up on. Seeing the surface has the same reflectivity as the objects themselves that are there people can't distinguish the difference for them. By doing a simple inversion, and anyone can try it, you could see many areas, and I say many areas that have these square, cut out areas. And inside of there, all this tunnelization and objects, natural or not. Again, each area has to be observed. I'm not going to say that the whole surface of the moon is constructed, but let me tell you, I could prove that 25% of it is.